Ladies and gents, welcome back to the Impact Stage Day 2 here at Techsylvania. This is our last block with 4 speaking slots. We have 3 keynotes and 1 exciting fireside chat. As a short overview of what's next, we'll navigate AI strategies, build high-performance teams in tech and different roles in your career, and maximize funding opportunities. Get ready for our final block, filled with inspiration from the humans behind the tech. The first keynote on what is our AI strategy is brought to you by Sorin Anagnoste. He's an esteemed applied strategy professor specializing in online business models and technology entrepreneurship. With a strong finance background and over 15 years in managerial roles, Sorin bridges academia and industry through collaborations with Anagnoste and Sparking Capital. He's a prolific speaker and author of numerous academic papers, bringing deep insights into AI strategy and its applications in today's dynamic business landscape. Today, Sorin will share his experience and perspectives on crafting AI strategies. Please welcome him to the stage. Your stage is yours.
Last week, I received a prize I was not expected. I made a short list, and what made me to receive the prize was the fact that one of the other two, one was considered by the commission, it was considered arrogant, so he lost the prize, and the other one didn't show up. So I showed up, and I got the prize, recognition and money, and that was nice because you are here today. You have together with me around 20 minutes, and I want you to leave with something from this because you showed up, right? So let's start. Of course, you cannot name yourself a professor or something if you don't have a newsletter or an expert, right? So, of course, I have a newsletter on strategy. It's at the intersection of strategy and technology. And today we're going to discuss what I'm discussing with board members. And that means everybody's asking in all the companies that you see here, from Superbet to Profit to you name it, Procter & Gamble, what is our AI strategy? So after discussing with different board members so far, presentations, workshops, and so on, I think we need to understand some things. And those things are the following: history, innovation, technology, and the strategy. So let's see in less than 20 minutes, because I want to have also some Q&A, let's see how I see this trend. Okay. So, if you work in tech, you already saw by now this quote from Ayrton Senna that said you cannot overtake 15 cars when it's sunny, but you can when it's raining. So, from this point of view, AI, it's a rain. People, companies especially, don't know how to react to that. So, that means if you are now a small or medium, now it's your chance to leapfrog and to be the best, right? And you can do that especially because what helped the companies, the incumbents, to be today where they are, it cannot allow them the flexibility to be the company of tomorrow, right? So keep that in mind. They are built in their leverage. Some of them are listed on the stock exchange. They have quarters, investors calls, they expect revenues and so on. And they don't want to see that you spend 200, 300 billion euros in different kind of strategies that you don't know that will bring results, right? So when we talk about AI, we need to think of the S curves, right? Every in technology, in innovation, is diffused through an S curve. In the beginning, you have, let me see, the innovation phase. Not sure it's working, this one, the laser. No. Okay. Okay, you have the innovation phase, right? Then is the improvement phase, and then of course is like it's a plateau, right? And then you go to another S curve. More exactly, we can see that every 10 to 15 years we have a new platform. That means all the people are switching from one platform to another. And you want with your company to be the new platform. Mainframes were the first, then it was the PC. What was after the PC? The internet. Yes, that was the next platform, right? What was after the internet? The iPhone, somebody said iPhone, yeah, which is the smartphone, and I put it in the same cloud with the cloud. And now some of the people said it's going to be the metaverse. Of course, it's not. Somebody said spatial computing, but more exactly AR, VR, and so on, and it's not. We see that with Vision Pro and so on. And it's going to be AI, right? I have seen this slide to at least 3, 4, 5 tech analysts, so it's not my original creation, but I'm building on this. So that means if you take the S-curve that you saw previously, you have the first phase when everybody laughs at you. This is the first phase, right? You have the second phase when everybody wants to work for you, right? And of course, you have the last phase where it's a plateau of productivity, improvement. It's just business as usual, but you make a lot of money, right? So if we want to put some companies, okay, I will name them. First, or product, Vision Pro is here. Because here, when you're in this phase, everybody considers your product a toy and laughs at your product, right? We have something more close to the wow phase, Ozempic from Novo Nordisk, yeah, which fights against diabetes and losing weight. In the oh wow phase, we have, of course, OpenAI, GPT, and of course, much more than that, we have Shein, right? You know Shein. If you don't know, your kids, your cousins are ordering from Shein.
Why not have this? And of course, in the next phase, when the student worry about the makeup of the partner, he's dying. Right? Everybody wants to like with his deal. But they don't even that's up there in interest. Right?
It's not cool anymore to talk about this. It's cool to talk about golden goose, for example, right? But not about this. So when we talk about AI and generative AI, Bill Gates said that, okay, the most revolutionary things that happened to me was the interface and, of course, ChatGPT. Right? And if you remember October or November 2022, ChatGPT started as a toy. We played with it, it was a little bit dummy, but it was a toy, right? We cannot consider today ChatGPT as a toy. I consider it a business partner. So what's our AI strategy? We see that companies are already working on some products. Some of the people are working in private with AI, others in companies, but it's here. And here is the innovation, the law of diffusion of innovation. And there are 5 categories of people, right? The first one are the innovators, the 2.5%. They buy anything what you ship. The second category is the early adopters, around 13.5%, and then is the CHASP. The CHASP, that means most of the companies fail to go to early majority, late majority, and laggards. And I'm showing you this because in the companies that you work for, you have exactly that distribution of people. Some of the people are innovators, some of them are early adopters, some of them are laggards. And that means you need to identify who are the innovators and the early adopters and to push in your company different pilots, different products, different strategies to develop AI in your company. Because if you don't do that, they will go to a place where somebody like this is doing, right? Because you want to work on the cool stuff, remember? Nobody wants to work for a company that is using Microsoft Excel, back and forth on the email, right? These are the companies of the past. Nobody wants to be, right? So I have a theory saying that companies cannot go from A to C. They only can go from A to B, right? They cannot change. I mean, think of Meta. They tried the metaverse. They invested. They lost more than 40 billion, 50 billion. I lost the count how much they spent, right? They cannot do that. They are good at what they are doing, but not inventing a platform, VR, metaverse, and so on, right? Next, there are 4 categories of usage of AI. And AI is not here from yesterday or 2022. It is here for at least 50 years. And we had it first with different, in medicine, we had it in object recognition. We had it everywhere, but capabilities was not the same thing as economics. Now we know that it's a market of at least $4 trillion. Now they think there is bigger than that. And we have 4 use cases. 4 categories are going to be affected deeply about AI. First is companionship. 1 in 3 persons globally say that they feel alone, right? Just think of how many hundreds of millions of retired people over 16 years are alone, literally alone, right? And of course, that means not only companionship for this kind of people, but also romantic partners. They're coming. They are there, waiting. People are waiting for this to come, but it's happening. The second category is, of course, creativity. You say something, text to video, text to image, text to flow, diagram with Figma, and so on, is here. All of this is here already, and you can see some examples. The third category is productivity. Yeah, text summarization, emails, and so on and so forth. And of course, the last category is robotics. And we saw last week Elon Musk saying that Optimus, with their robot, it will be available probably for commercial use in 1 to 2 years. That means it will be like 1 or 2 robots per 1 person working in factories, but he estimates that can be 10 to 1. 10 to 1. So these are the categories. Of course, in robotics, we can mention also military, because it's a dual use. You heard Mr. Joanna. I'm not going to deep dive. But when you put robots and drones and you give them AI to coordinate an attack, you'll see the results. So now, why is this important? Because the cost, each platform that I showed you brought the cost of work to 0. For example, in this was the cost of the compute. This was the AutoCAD before AutoCAD. Sending a person on the moon was done manually with paper and pen, calculating everything, right? So when the microchip, if you remember the S-curves that I showed you previously, when the microchip was invented, that was the result. These people moved to, the cost was 0 now. The second 0 cost was the cost of the distribution with the emergence of the internet. Yeah, you can now write something and sell it everywhere, 0 cost of the distribution. The third cost of the distribution that goes to 0 is happening today, and that is the cost of creativity. It's not literally 0, it's 0.0001, but it's 0, right? If you want, I gave at some point, make my picture that you saw in the first slide, made it a Pixar character. It took 1 second, 2 seconds to make it. The cost $0.0001. And of course, the last one, that is not here yet, it will come 5 years, 10 years from now, 15 years, we'll see, is the cost of productivity. This is the Optimus that I told you about, right? They will work in factories. Guess what? People don't want to work in factories. They can do the creative part, the repair part for the stuff that is happening in the factories, but they don't want to do the same stuff all over again, right? So what will humans do? That is the question, right? So this was the life imagined before generative AI, right? Robots will do the work, we'll do the creative stuff. Right now it's a debate when they see how fast things are working, saying, look, I don't want the AI to do the creative part. I want to do the dishes, the washes, to dish the washes, and so on. I want to do the creative part, right? Really, this was a viral tweet 2 weeks ago, right? So what we have today, it started actually in 2009 as a technology. It doesn't happen overnight, just for you to realize. Of course, what stayed at the core of what we see today, there are multiple innovations, but it started at Google, let's say, it skyrocketed at Google. That means they invented the transformer that stays at the base of the generative AI in 2017. They realized that it affects their business model, and they killed the product. But the paper was out, and somebody took the paper, somebody from OpenAI, and then they developed on that, and they made a transformer. So that means that confirms again the theory that companies can go from A to B, and for Google, A to B means putting you 10 blue links, not seeing you an answer. Where do you put ads in the answer? You don't. It's hard. It costs much more to go from a deterministic search to a probabilistic search that is generative AI. how it works, generative AI, right? So this is, the internet, everything is zero and ones. That's not a secret for you. You are tech, you understand zero and ones, right? This is a deterministic model, zero and ones. And what is a cat? We have for each letter, you have zero and ones, right? But it has its limits. If you see, this is the cat. This is the hat. There are only two differences, right? Between cat and hat, right? And this is kitten, right? The more words you use when you search on Google, the lower the return of your result that you want. Usually you should use maximum 3 words. This is the key, right? So imagine that ChatGPT understands around 1,600 dimensions, and they made a characteristic to each word. For example, these are an example of shoes from fit, style, durability, and so on. And you have 1,636 for ChatGPT, right? And now you have a description, a code for everyone based on the characteristics that you saw in the previous. As a result, when you go and you give this to a neural network that simulates how your brain works, it knows in a probabilistic method that the next word after a young cat is called a kitten, it's a kitten. It's a probabilistic method. It has 3% hallucination. It doesn't know the answer and invents answers. But it's a probabilistic model. So that gives us where we are today with the productivity part, with Ben Evans saying that generative AI gives you infinite inters. I have 27 GPTs. They are mine. I grew them. I train them personally. I talk with them daily, and so on. I become, I think, 200, 300 more productive using those GPTs, right? So why is this important? Because GPT-4 has an IQ which is around 140, and Einstein, it was supposed that had an IQ around 160. Sorry, I said 140, it's 150. ChatGPT-5 is coming probably this year, and that means it will be at the PhD student level, right? So how about the marketplace for interns, unlimited interns? There is one now in ChatGPT. You can train your model, and you can sell it over there. Of course, we are now in the peak of inflated expectations according to Gartner when it comes to generative AI. From now it's downhill. That means it's a shakeout. Many companies will go bankrupt, others will acquire others. Some models will become the standard. Some will try to go open source and then sell you a fine open source model like Databricks. Have you heard about Databricks in Silicon Valley? 2 of the co-founders are Romanian professors, computer science at Caltech. Yeah, probably now the richest Romanians alive, more than Syriac and Daniel Dinesh. So that can be also a solution. So now, from now on, it's only downhill. Of course, it's hard to have these GPUs to train your models. Let me check. But old school is new school, because generative AI, it's a sustaining innovation. It's not a disruptive innovation, right? So again, oops. The old winners are the new winners, right? Old school is the new school, because generative AI it's sustaining innovation, it's not disruptive innovation. Finally, the incumbents, Google and so on, will try to do this new thing, always a feature. And of course, the startups will try to do a company, the vice versa. First, they have a marketplace. That means you don't go to App Store. Second, they want to have a device, AI device. And third, of course, they want to have their own chips. And we are now moving from a phase of generative AI when it was everything based on information to insights, and we see that every day. And we see now that you can work, for example, in FigJam, you can do brainstorming, and then you can let the AI give you the summaries, the clusters, and so on, send you emails, reminders. And of course, in text, if you work with a lot of text, macro.com, it's very good at this. It can give you a lot of insights very easily. And let's summarize it. If in 2005 we were going to film, orange film, if you remember, in 2015, everybody said, let's stream it on Netflix. In 2025,
it will be ask an LLM text to video to create a season of Narcos taking place in Balkans with Brad Pitt and Taylor Swift in leading roles. This is happening as we speak, right? Of course, I'm not going to stay too much on the use cases. There are more than 63 that I have identified that can bring you a lot of value and can discuss in the break. But remember one thing, that this is what we were promised 20, 30, 40 years ago, and this is what we got. And that's a problem for we as a continent. This is what we want to do, right? I mean, regulation, that's boring. Because over-regulation drives growth away. We saw it with threats that emerged in Europe or appeared in Europe 6 months after appeared everywhere in the world, and now we see that with AI, Apple Intelligence, that is not sure when it will appear. So, again, this is a joke from tech guys, right? Launch on iOS now and 6 months later on Android. In 2024 is launched now everywhere except the EU and 6 months on the EU. Because guess what, EU, it's actually only 10%, less than 10% of the revenues of Apple. So now, where is the future of Europe? And I think it's in deep tech, that means ASML, Novo Nordisk, and so on, and what I call artisanship, Louis Vuitton and the others. That's it. Thank you. Let's see some questions. We have time for, I think, 2 questions, actually. 4 minutes. Yes?
We said that the cost of creation will go.
Yeah, it's 0.01, something like this.
Like the part of the that I get after this, so it's just zero because you still need to know what has something.
Of course. There is a business around prompts, right? What prompt should I use to have the better video, the better image, the better and so on? And I do it myself every day. I try to improve my prompts. It will be probably a class online, how to write the best prompts and so on. And I know that I participated at some point in a small training, and at the end, as a recognition, I received a prompt used by the trainer. Amazing prompt. Not easy. Very hard to figure it out from the beginning. Thank you.
Other questions? Please raise your hand so we can see you.
Yeah, maybe
please
with the microphone, yeah.
Stand up, please. So.
Hi.
Hello.
As I see you're vice dean of Faculty of Business Administration, I'm just wondering if you have any strategy at the faculty of preparing students to be able to use such technologies and AI tools for when they are going on the market.
Yes, I'm a laggard in academics, meaning I worked for different companies for 15 years and then I moved to academics, and of course starting my own business and so on. Yes, we have that, and that is called Python. They are business students, but we developed a minor in data science. So now they are studying each semester different data science disciplines that help them to build their minor in data science. And that means they can use the technologies that are available today to have their prototypes and so on. Thank you.
We can take maybe another question. Please raise your hand if you want to ask something. Or maybe somebody wants to approach you during the networking time.
Yes, I'll be around. Thank you for coming, for listening, and I'm open to challenge my ideas. Thank you very much.